Well, you asked for it, here it is. Welcome to another episode in my new series Graphite Stocks, where I hope to one day have analyzed every single graphite stock on the stock market. Today we are looking at another banger of a value proposition, Mason Graphite. And at the current amount of shares outstanding and stock price, this is just a $20 million company. While they have one of the largest graphite deposits I've personally ever seen. At insane purities too, 17% for the entire resource and up to 27% average purity at some spots. These numbers for a graphite resource are mental. Now the main question is, how will Mason Graphite get this graphite out of the ground and into the hands of customers? Well, one of the largest graphite startups, Nouveau Monde Graphite, might have something to do with that answer. I will answer those questions and more in this video on Mason Graphite. Let's get into it with first a company overview. I would like to take a piece of your time to focus on the here and now of Mason Graphite. We'll talk more about the growth story of Mason Graphite in just a bit during the second part of this video. Honestly, the only thing I can say about Mason Graphite today is I am impressed. Sure, the company doesn't have a lot going on for it now. If we look at the latest balance sheet we've received from Mason Graphite, we can see that the company basically owns nothing. Of course, besides of the graphite deposit, which isn't really being valued on book value, and we can see that the company has a really healthy cash amount of roughly $13.5 million. Besides that, they have a property, plant and equipment position of roughly $5.7 million, and they have this intangible assets worth roughly $9 million. Those intangible assets consist out of the Black SWAN Graphene subsidiary. Mason Graphite actually owns 33% of this Black Swan company. Fun fact, Black Swan Graphene is also a stock trading on the stock exchange, and again, Mason Graphite owns 33% of this company. Notably, the company has a super clean balance sheet and basically has $0 in liabilities. And because their assets are valued at $28 million, the book value of the business is also roughly $28 million. Even if we subtract those intangible assets, the adjusted book value of the company is still roughly $20 million, which is the current market cap of the business. So in effect, you are paying about book value for the stock. Again, mineral resources aren't really being valued on book value. And that means that you are getting the entire graphite deposit for free. Doesn't seem like a bad deal at face value. And as far as I can tell, a clean balance sheet is basically all this company has going on for now. Sure, they have this insane graphite deposit, which we will analyze in just a bit, but I do still have to highlight this. From this financial report, it seems like the company used to own a plant of some kind, but it has impaired almost all the value of this plant and this equipment. I personally couldn't really find what the freak is going on here, so if anyone from you knows what's going on, please let us all know down below in the comment section. I have emailed this company regarding this question, and as of this recording, I still haven't received word from them yet. Now there's still one more thing we should discuss about the here and now of Mason Graphite, that elusive graphite deposit. And like I said, this is one of the biggest graphite deposits I've personally ever seen. To put it into context, they have about 11.2 million tons of pure graphite as measured and indicated. These are the types of graphite ores that are basically 100% confirmed. And they also have an additional 3.4 million tons of pure graphite as inferred. This isn't 100% confirmed to be there, but it is most likely there. This is even more graphite than from the Talga group deposit, which is the company we analyzed 2 weeks ago during the first episode of this series. That is to say, Mason Graphite is sitting on an enormous amount of graphite. And it is super pure too. The total resource has an average graphite content of 17.2%. To put that number into context, a lot of companies would be happy with an average graphite content of 6% plus. And a specific chunk of their resource, about 1.3 million tons of pure graphite, comes in at roughly the 28% purity range. As a rule of thumb, the purer a resource, the cheaper and easier it is to extract the material. assuming metallurgical factors remain the same. And Mason Graphite likes to flex their purity numbers. From this list, which contains most of the graphite companies I know that have a public resource estimation, it is indeed the top dog. So again, in the here and now, if you were to invest in Mason Graphite today, you would get a company for less than book value and this enormous graphite deposit at world-class purities for free. That seems like a pretty good deal, but is it? Well, for that we do have to look at the growth story. And well, originally the company hoped to commercialize this resource on their own. They did a feasibility study back in 2018 for a total graphite production of roughly 50,000 tons per year. And these numbers were extremely favorable. They were forecasting an average production cost per ton sub $500, which would put them in the lowest quartile of production costs. For those of you that don't know, the lower cost as a miner, the less risky your business is. If you are able to produce one of the lowest 25% cost producers, it is very unlikely you will ever have to sell your material for a loss. While if you are in the highest 25% cost producers, it is more likely that when graphite prices go lower, you will have to stop operating, because you are losing money at that price point. So as an investor, lower cost equals more better. But this feasibility study can be thrown right out the window because Mason Graphite and Nouveau Monde Graphite, another huge player valued well above $200 million on the stock market, have decided to work together. How I understand this deal, NMG and Mason Graphite will form a joint venture together, which is just another company they will start together, of which NMG will own 51% and Mason Graphite will own 49%. That's good shit, because basically revenues and profits will be split 50-50 between these two parties. But NMG will get access to this enormous and super pure graphite deposit, and Mason Graphite will get access to NMG's future state-of-the-art anode material facility. Honestly, it is a pretty good deal. Moreover, the conditions include 1. At least a $10 million Canadian investment from NMG into the Mason Graphite deposit. 2. The completion of a feasibility study for a 250,000 ton per annum graphite mine on the Mason Graphite deposit. Number 3, funding of the joint venture will be on a pro rata basis, meaning each company will have to contribute their percentage of ownership as funding. So Mason Graphite is actually getting a discount for developing their property. After all, NMG is paying for 51% of the development of the mine. But of course, Mason Graphite will also only get 49% of the profits of this graphite mine. But 49% of 250,000 tons of high purity graphite is still a lot of freaking revenue, especially for a $20 million company today. Okay, so the futures of NMG and Mason Graphite are intertwined. But, and this is a pretty big but, as of this moment in time, we do not know how much this enormous graphite mine will cost. It's at least going to be $260 million, since that was the price tag for their 50,000 ton per year facility, and whatever that figure is going to be, it is going to come out of the pockets of shareholders. In the form of dilution, also going to come in the form of government subsidies, and it is going to come in the form of debt. So if you're going to jump on the Mason Graphite train, prepare yourself for a bumpy ride. Moreover, we basically have zero idea with which time frame this feasibility study is being developed. We know NMG hopes to get their anode facility up and running by 2025. So maybe the Mason Graphite mine will be operational during 2026 or 2027. The point is, we don't really know. Mason Graphite still has a lot of uncertainties. However, unlike with Talga Group, where I said the company was uninvestable for me at this moment in time because of those uncertainties, with Mason Graphite it's different. It's different because you're basically buying a chunk of this graphite deposit for free. if we take book value into account. So to me, there is a margin of safety there. Not a big one. If the company does go bankrupt, I'm still fucked. But to me, this price point seems like a nice entry for a long-term gamble. I know if I'm betting on this company, I will at least need to hold till the end of this decade. Only then will the true fruits of this bet come into fruition. And at any point between now and then, Mason Graphite might go under, which I am okay with because I will limit my risk by a small position sizing. However, you need to keep in mind that I am biased, since I've been a shareholder of Mason Graphite all the way back from last Monday. Moreover, I do also own a pretty significant amount of Cortomic shares compared to my portfolio, which is one of Mason's competitors. And classic YouTuber disclaimer, while I have recently become a registered financial advisor in the Netherlands, I do not have the legal capacity to give anyone investing advice yet. But heads up, I am working on that too. Moreover, in these videos, I can never take your personal circumstances into account. So this video and any other video on my channel cannot be seen as financial advice, blah 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 blah, you know the drill. And with that said, thank you so much for watching, I love you all, peace.